Yeah, away we go on a Wednesday. ESPN Wisconsin Draft Week presented by American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly with American Family Insurance. It's the Mr. Relevant crew with you once again. I'm Alex Strouf, live from the Tundra Trio in rainy Green Bay right now. Starting to sprinkle a bit here, trying to ruin the draft day vibes as things really picking up today in Green Bay. We'll get to my morning, but let's introduce the rest of the crew. JOSHY DiMaggio is back at the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studio at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. JOSHY, happy Wednesday. Looking forward to seeing you in the flesh tomorrow. Aren't you fired up to see me?
No, not fired up to see you. I'm fired up to be in Green Bay, and I'm fired up to see everyone else that is going to be there.
But not
all
me.
Our other teammates. I see way too much of you as it is.
Yeah, but again, as I tried to say to you yesterday, you pretend you don't like me, but I know I'm your favorite.
Favorite's strong. Favorite, I think we're overextending ourselves there quite a bit. I do like you. I just like you in doses. There's a healthy dose of Alex Strouf. And this week, I think the Thursday and Friday, we're going to spend a lot of time together, and that's all I'm going to need.
Okay, that's fair. Well, hopefully, you listening think this is a healthy dose of Alex Strouf, 12 to 2 every day this week. Because I know Joshy's fired up to hear me every day, 12 to 2. Hunter Vaughn producing the show as always. Producer Tiny Hands back at the Everlight Solar Studio in downtown Madison. Hunter, happy Wednesday. We are 24 hours away from the Cowboys selecting somebody you'll be excited about, I would imagine.
Yeah, as long as they don't go with a Michigan defensive lineman again. That hasn't worked out the last two times. I'll be good with it. I have a feeling they're going to go Tet McMillan at 12.
Okay, well, we will hear from Tet McMillan today. I had the opportunity to ask him about his time in Green Bay. We will hear from Texas receiver Matthew Golden today. I asked them both the same question. They had a top 30 visit in Green Bay. How was it, and can you see yourself playing here? So I want to play both of their responses a bit later in the 1 o'clock hour as I had the opportunity to catch up with them. Some cool community initiatives going on with the NFL's Play 60 program over at the Titletown District. Pretty much every prospect that's in town, hoping to hear their name called tomorrow, was there, right? Travis Hunter, the Heisman Trophy winner. Listen to him do a back and forth with a reporter, and he said he is going to go both ways no matter where he ends up in the NFL. Every team he's talked to said they're okay with him playing both corner and wide receiver, which just fascinates me because we've never seen a guy like this. And he will likely, it sounds like he'll wind up in Cleveland at pick 2. But fascinating stuff from him and a lot of the prospects. So we'll play some of that audio coming up a bit later. Had a really nice 15-minute conversation yesterday with Packers cornerback Carrington Valentine and his journey in the NFL. You'll be able to find that full conversation on the ESPN Milwaukee YouTube channel, but we'll play a snippet of that a bit later for you as well. Before we get to any of that, though, I got to just bring you into Green Bay for a moment, fellas, because it has been complete and utter chaos, especially today. Right, I said Monday and Tuesday we're witnessing a lot of construction. It feels like the Packers and Green Bay kind of bringing construction down to the 11th hour as there are still behind me at Lambeau Field construction crews finishing up the stage, putting the finishing touches on some of the areas where fans will be able to watch the draft happen, and you can't get in there. Right, and you can't get in anywhere. So this morning I went to go pick up my credentials so I could get to Radio Row and I could get to some of the different events that are going on. Went to the entrance I was told to go to. Told I can't go there and I can't stand there. So I'm like, okay. So I walked towards the bars, right, Stadium View and some of the bars over on Holmgren Way. Went to the other entrance over there. I walked up to the metal detector, said, hey, I need to get in here. I was told I need to get in here. They say, no, you can't get in here. So then I walked back the other way. I talked to a lady at the end of the street. She says, no, you have to go there. So I am now becoming a pinball between two sides of this entrance on the west side of Lambeau Field. Long story short, thank goodness for my friend's mom, Kelly, fellas, because Kelly pulls up in a parking lot and starts yelling at me, and I have not seen her in, I don't know, maybe 7-8 years, and I just go, Kelly, can I please get in your car? Kelly goes, yes, Alex, you can get in my car. I got in Kelly's car. She drove me to where I needed to get, and I got there on time. But ultimately, thank God I know people, Joshy, I guess is ultimately the point here, and I'm very thankful for Kelly's service on this Wednesday afternoon.
You didn't say like, hey, I'm getting pushed around and they're not telling me where to go exactly. You just said, can I get in your car? That was your intro?
My intro was, hey, how you doing? Really good to see you. I buttered her up a little bit before asking for the ride naturally.
All right. Well, then good. I'm happy that worked out. Of course, you run into, as we know, someone You've told us how much this means to you and how the use is where you grew up. So it makes sense. You'd see someone you knew.
I think that's actually, one of the first, but you're right about that. So, yeah, we will see. But it was a morning, man.
I am surprised this is the first.
Did you text her son
no.
and say, hey, your mom drove me?
Yes, I took a picture from the back seat of her
nice
car.
Nice little selfie.
So it was him and his grandma in the front seat.
Oh, wow.
Or, excuse me,
grandma
it was her,
too.
her mom. So grandma and mom. So I took a picture of them and I sent it to him, and he responded with some expletives, wondering why I was in the car with his mother and grandma.
I think that's fair.
After explaining it, I think he was a little bit more understanding. But am I surprised, Hunter? That was your question?
Well, no, I'm just surprised this is the first time that you've had that. Like,
yeah,
we're on Wednesday.
Outside of the media realm, no. I mean, I've obviously run into a lot of local media people I know, but other than that, in terms of locals, I have not run into anybody I know yet. I imagine that will happen more tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, when everybody is here. But like I mentioned, dude, like things are really picking up here in Green Bay. I was walking over to like where the Resch Center is, the Resch Expo, and I saw, I don't know, maybe 50 people just rolling suitcases at 8:30 a.m. And there's not really a hotel over there, so I'm not sure where they were going. Saw Scott Hansen of NFL Red Zone. He was yelling about getting drafted. Yeah, Josh, you think I have energy at 8 in the morning or 9 in the morning? That dude fired up this morning. So it was a fascinating sight. But anyway, Green Bay, things are underway. Things are getting going and really picking up here today on Wednesday prior to the first round starting tomorrow, just up the street at Lambeau Field. Wide receiver or edge, which position will make more of an impact if the Packers go one of those two directions in the first round? Like, I think a lot of us are beginning to feel those are the two positions that have stuck out the most when it comes to the top 30 visits. And we've referenced this a few times this week, but those are important to keep an eye on. Brian Gutekunst is very, very intentional about the players he visits with on top 30 visits. In past years, it's been more the second, third, fourth, fifth round picks that he's visiting with. But more than ever in 2025, Brian Gutekunst, the general manager of the Packers, is spending more time on top-level talent, guys that will go in the first or second round at both of those positions. And what's the word you always use, Joshy? Subterfuge?
Subterfuge is the one.
So no subterfuge here would be the correct sentence with that word in it?
Yeah, that would be exactly it.
I love that we have you here to be the measuring stick of my vocabulary, because I am not a broad vocabulary here in comparison to you. So
no, I don't know what you want me to respond to that, but yeah, no, you don't have a broad vocabulary.
You always know, by the way, I just need to point this out. As soon as Strouf started saying that, Josh went right down to looking at his phone if you're watching us on YouTube. And that's when I know Josh does not care about what Strouf is saying, and we're not going to get a response. Like, it's the
I just
best.
didn't know what I was supposed to say.
No, you're right. You're right. You had nowhere to go with that. It was totally fair. It's just that's when I know, yep, we're not going to get much of a response here.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But anyway, no subterfuge here.
We confirmed it what you said right away.
Okay, let's continue to roll. No subterfuge here, Joshy, when it comes to the top 30 visits Brian Gutekunst has spent his time on. When we look across the board, you're looking at probably 8 or 9 guys that will hear their name called tomorrow, round 1 of the NFL draft. A majority of those in the wide receiver and edge rusher category. Tet McMillan out of Arizona, who's viewed as the top wide receiver in this draft, spent 2 days in Green Bay. Matthew Golden of Texas, who is viewed as the second best receiver in this draft, went on a top 30 visit with the Packers. And a name we've spent a lot of time on, Emeka Egbuka, the receiver out of Ohio State, the reigning national champion. Also, one of the 3 of the top 6 receivers that Brian Gutekunst spent a top 30 visit on. When you look at the edge rusher category, Mykel Williams of Georgia, one of the better edge rushers in this draft. Should be a mid-round pick. Not sure he'll be there at 23, but Goody's still doing his research if he is. Same thing with Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M and James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee, all viewed as first-round picks or very early second-round picks. And same thing, one defensive tackle, which in terms of size and speed, a guy that really checks the Packers boxes, Walter Nolan out of Ole Miss. So it seems like edge and receiver are the 2 positions Goody has done his most research on. So I want to dive into the the discussion at some point this hour of which one would be more of an immediate impact. Because we've gone down one of those roads in the past few years, and we didn't see an immediate impact. Can we, in 2025, as the Packers continue to try to elevate themselves into a championship-level team? But coming up next, I want to play some of my conversation with Packers cornerback Carrington Valentine yesterday, reflecting on when he was drafted in the 7th round back in 2023, and talk a little bit about this cornerback room, what to expect from it in 2025. My conversation with Packers cornerback Carrington Valentine coming up next. It's ESPN Wisconsin Draft Week, presented by American Family Insurance.
More Mr. Irrelevant coming up on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Ben Brust here to tell you about why your next work van should be from Mercedes-Benz Sprinter at Zimbrick European. First off, we have versatility. The Sprinter vans offer 16 body types and thousands of ways to customize that space. Number 2, we have reliability. Sprinter's most powerful diesel engines last longer and require less maintenance, spend more time on the road and less time in those bays. Number 3, we have safety. Sprinter's safety technologies include curtain airbags all around, load adaptive electronic stability program, and crosswind and attention assist. Number 4, Van Care Mobile. Our maintenance team can come to you with routine service. Who wants to go in? Let them come to you. They work with multiple trucks on one visit. Use the Mercedes Me Connect. And last but not least, get your Zimbrick Sprinter at Zimbrick European at Rimrock Road and the Beltline, or go online at ZimbrickEuropean.com because they never charge over the MSRP.
You're back at the gym. Your new gym outfit? On point. Your new sneakers? Baller. You've got this. Just like Associated Bank's got you with Access Checking. It's maintenance fee-free with no minimum balance requirements. So when you take your first yoga class in 10 months, your body might surprise you, but your checking account won't. You've got this with Access Checking from Associated Bank. See associatedbank.com/checking or ask a banker for details. Member FDIC.
All day, every day, the Carbless Talk and Text line is open for you. 844-770-3776. The Carbless Talk and Text line. This is more. Picks are made every year with the NFL Draft as each team dreams fearlessly. Let's rewind for an American Family Insurance Green Bay Dream Pick.
April 2005. Green Bay's gunslinger Brett Favre continues to perform, but the threat of retirement has general manager Ted Thompson thinking about the future. That's when Green Bay made their dream pick.
With the 24th selection in the 2005 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Aaron Rodgers, quarterback of California.
Once taking over as the starter, Rodgers' career would blossom. 147 wins, 475 touchdown passes, 4 MVPs, and 1 championship. Aaron Rodgers is on his way to a gold jacket.
Over the middle, caught, touchdown. The Lombardi Trophy is coming home.
This Green Bay Dream Pick is presented by American Family Insurance. American Family Insurance is always a great pick because their agents are there to protect your dreams. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
The Bucky Badger Student Mascot Fund was created to support the amazing student athletes who bring the best mascot in the world to life.
My name is Jake Huser. I was Bucky from 2021 to 2024, and my favorite memory of being Bucky was winning a national championship with both volleyball in 2021 and women's hockey in 2023.
Your donation will help fund new scholarships to ensure that the rich tradition of Bucky lives on. Learn more at supportbucky.org. That's supportbucky.org.
If your child faces an unsafe situation at home, are they prepared? Friday, April 25th from 3:30 to 5 p.m., Stoughton Health is hosting the class Safe at Home at the Oregon School District office. For students in grades 4 through 6, students learn to practice safe habits, prevent unsafe situations, how to handle an emergency like a power failure, weather, injuries, and illnesses. Class B is $25. Financial assistance is available. Visit stoughtonhealth.com to register, then click on Classes and Events.
Celebrate Cinco de Mayo at the Bridges. On Saturday, May 3rd, play in a 2 or 4 person scramble for $120 per person. Includes 18 holes with a cart, prizes, and a Mexican feast. Find more details at golfthebridges.com today.
This is our crew.
Throwing is up, scrambling home. He's going to score, and Yelich into third. Oh, the Brewers with the double steal.
You're listening to Madison's new home for Milwaukee Brewers baseball, 100.5 ESPN.
Oh, what a night indeed. What a week. NFL Draft Week underway. It's ESPN Wisconsin Draft Week presented by American Family Insurance. Ensure carefully, dream fearlessly with American Family Insurance. Mr. Irrelevant with you until 2 o'clock. Yet again today, I'm Alex Strouf in Green Bay, just outside of Lambeau Field as preparations continue. Seems like the rain's going away, though. We got that going for us. JOSHY DiMaggio with us as always, back at the Gruber Law Offices, One Call That's All studio in downtown Milwaukee. Hunter Vaughn producing the show. Producer Tiny Hands is back at the Everlight Solar Studio in downtown Madison. I love this week for so many different reasons, right? And Josh and I have talked about this at length the last couple of weeks. It's just such a nerdy spectacle. Guys like Josh, who are self-admitted nerds, right, dive into the college tape and trying to figure out how these guys fit into particular schemes, trying to project, okay, this guy makes sense here, this guy might make sense here, this guy might make sense as a mid-round pick for my favorite team. It's just names and positions and trying to figure out. It's like a giant puzzle in a way that nobody will get right. And that's what makes the spectacle of Draft Week so fun. I also love this week because you get great stories. You learn about backgrounds. You learn about this guy that thought his football career was over, but now is ultimately going to take that next step. You hear about guys who don't know if they'll get their name called, and ultimately late day 3, they do and are able to realize their lifelong dream of playing in the NFL. And I also love this week because tonight is the night for me, boys. I get to fire up the American classic film starring Kevin Costner, Draft Day. It is an unbelievably bad. No, let me rephrase. It is an unbelievably good but unrealistic piece of American cinema that I watch every year the night before the NFL draft. And it's like the Seahawks general manager in that film essentially moves back 7 picks for nothing, which would just never happen in the National Football League. But is it entertaining as hell? Absolutely it is. Do I love that movie despite how unrealistic it is? Yes, I do. So tonight is the night for me that I get to watch Draft Day. Hunter, it sounds like you're excited about Draft Day. I imagine Josh hates that movie. Joshy?
Despise it.
Why do you despise it? I'm not surprised by this one bit, but why do you despise Draft Day with Kevin Costner? American classic.
It's bad. It's corny. It's unrealistic.
It's not.
But the Avengers are realistic. Every movie is so realistic. Like, what are we doing?
What the hell are you talking about? The Avengers based on superheroes is a little bit different than a
there's
show
no
about
movie
the
unless
NFL
you're watching
draft.
a documentary that is actually realistic. That's such a terrible bar to set things at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's a movie. It's not claiming to be 100%
And
factual.
it sucks.
It's entertainment.
You're getting hung up on one point of very many of why that movie is no good. It's not. It's not entertaining. It's not fun.
Oh, it's entertaining.
No, it's not.
No, that's a bad thing. Josh, I think you should watch it tonight.
I will never, ever watch that movie again.
Did you just watch it the one time?
Yeah, that's all you need.
See, I disagree. I think it gets better with time.
Yep. The more watches, the better it gets.
Yeah, just like Napoleon Dynamite. Well said. Well said. Just like Napoleon Dynamite. The more you watch it, the better it gets. It's like an old wine, right? The longer you wait, the better it gets.
Get a life.
Comparing Draft Day to wine was not on my bingo card today, but here we are, 21 minutes into ESPN Wisconsin Draft Week. So I mentioned I love the story aspect of Draft Week, and I think this guy's got such a unique story. Packers cornerback Carrington Valentine was drafted in the 7th round of the 2023 NFL Draft. He left the University of Kentucky after his junior season in hopes of making it to the NFL, and he had to wait around. Got through day 1, got through day 2, got through the 4th, the 5th, the 6th round, and he was uncertain if he was even going to get drafted. And then a team that was never even on his radar, the Green Bay Packers, a 920 area code calls him, and he winds up in Green Bay. I spent about 15, 20 minutes with Carrington Valentine yesterday, walking around Lambeau Field and just reflecting on his path and previewing what's to come in the 2025 season for the Green Bay Packers. Here is a piece of that interview, which you can find in full, the ESPN Milwaukee YouTube channel, and we will post it as well in the Mr. Irrelevant podcast feed on the all-new ESPN Wisconsin app. Make sure you download that if you haven't before. ESPN Wisconsin on the App Store, on the Google Play Store. You can download it. You can click Mr. Irrelevant under the ESPN Wisconsin Originals tab, and we'll have that full interview posted later this afternoon. But here's a chunk of my conversation with Packers starting cornerback Carrington Valentine on ESPN Wisconsin Draft Week. It's the 2023 NFL Draft. It's the 7th round. You get a phone call from a 920 area code. Bring me into that moment.
Yeah, definitely, wasn't expecting, my whole draft situation of, waiting that long. But, just having that phone call, the emotions you feel is really unexplainable, honestly. I was around my family, my friends, in Cincinnati, so definitely had some tears there for sure.
And when you get drafted in the 7th round, does that put a chip on your shoulder? Like, oh, people waited around this long to take a shot on me. Does that give you a little extra hunger?
Yeah. Regardless, though, if I got drafted in the 7th round or the 1st round, just the nature of who I am, it was always going to be a chip on my shoulder somehow, some way. But I guess going to the 7th round brought a little extra umph to it. So yeah.
So the name of your high school in Cincinnati was what?
Moeller High School.
And I've heard Moeller High School has produced like 1 million great athletes, including yourself. Give us some of the names that also attended Moeller High School.
Yeah, we had Ken Griffey Jr.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, we have Jackson Hayes, plays in NBA, Miles McBride, just a list of guys, honestly. So.
Carrington Valentine?
Yeah, me.
Yeah. Pretty good name.
Yeah, pretty good name right there. It's a good place. It's a great place, honestly. Moeller High School is, definitely a part of my story that I wouldn't want to forget. They definitely helped me become, the man who I am. The saying is a man of Moeller. So
a man of Moeller.
Yeah,
I like that. As we enter 2025, virtual OTAs with the draft in town.
Yeah,
how's that been?
It's been smooth, honestly.
Has it? Okay.
Yeah.
That's a little bit unique.
It's unique. It's different. You still get to connect to guys. They're not there, but we still all joke around like we're in the meeting room. We still learn the same way, still organized. They've done a really good job of that for us.
Have you been able to connect with the new guy in the room, Nate Hobbs?
Yeah.
Who you signed out of Vegas? How's he?
Actually, it's funny. I know me and Nate have a relationship for a long time.
Okay.
I've known Nate since I've been in high school. We work out with each other. We work out at the same gym. So when he was at Illinois and I was in Kentucky, we still used to, work out together. So me and him have a great relationship. We still laugh and joke around. I was just with him like 2 days ago before I got out of here.
Nice.
So yeah.
What does he bring to your defensive backfield?
And energy, high energy, amped up. He's just another person you can feed off of.
Yeah. They gonna let you announce a pick or something with the draft in Green Bay? Have you talked to anybody about that? Can we get you on stage?
I haven't talked to anybody about that, but that'd definitely be I would definitely have a blast if I got to do that one.
I think you'd be good at that. It'd be electric.
Yeah, I probably would be really turned, to be honest. I would definitely try to rock the crowd for sure.
So the NFC North, obviously, very good division last year. Every team, it was pretty solid. You've only been in the league 2 years. You've been in Green Bay 2 years. Is there a particular divisional opponent that you either love or hate playing for various reasons?
Honestly, no. I like them all about the same.
Yeah.
It's just how the division is. I feel like our division, is really gritty. Really blue collared. I feel like it's, it shows real football. It's one of those divisions where you show where, it's who's going to be tougher and who's going to fold.
What's the favorite win of your NFL career so far?
My favorite win.
Is there one that sticks out?
I just feel like, I don't know, that's hard. I just feel like that backstretch when we went on a winning streak was a surreal moment for real. Just not even just because we were winning. I feel like the team right there, we all gelled together, we locked in, and we all got close too. So, and especially us being so young, it was definitely fun to be a part of that.
I've asked a lot of your teammates this because I'm fascinated by it. And you go against this guy all the time in practice. How good can Jordan Love be?
Jordan Love is, and a lot of people ask me this, and I'm like, he's elite, and I love playing with him, and what people don't understand, how good of a person he is. Me and J Love always, our lockers are literally right by each other, and we joke around all the time. But just as a player and his IQ and the passes that he make, and he keeps you on your toes, and he's a guy that as a defensive back, he helps you get better.
There it is, Packers cornerback Carrington Valentine here on ESPN Wisconsin Draft Week, which is presented by American Family Insurance. I'm Alex Strouf with you live from Green Bay at the Tundra Trio, just outside of Lambeau Field as the activities continue to pick up. You can find that full conversation with Carrington Valentine, ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. The whole concept of a walk and talk. JOSHY, Hunter, I know you just watched us walk through like random neighborhoods here in Ashwaubenon. How do we feel about that concept? Should I start walking with people? Get my steps in?
I think you need a defined distance. I know other people have done like the 100 yards or they've done the length of a basketball court. It being an undetermined length of just how many questions I feel like asking, we're just going to keep walking for all of it. I think that you need a set distance in mind.
How many yards total is the 3-cone drill?
Oh, it's
like, isn't it
20?
Well, you got their back 20.
Yeah. So, I mean, try and just rapid fire that
15?
way. Do something like that.
Well, there's 5-yard increments, but it's a total of 20 yards because you go down, back, and then all the way back and around. So it's 20 yards. But, yeah, I don't know about that one, Hunter. That seemed like an unnecessary shot.
I mean, I don't know if it was unnecessary. Yeah.
Part of me also can't be sticking on what Hunter's saying, is aghast at you are the size bigger than an NFL cornerback, and yet you are slower than the slowest person to ever compete at the combine.
Yeah, so, it's funny you say that, Josh, because our boss, Brian D., the director of content at ESPN Milwaukee, he texted me last night, and he said, wow, you have incredible measurables for an NFL cornerback, except you have none of the athleticism necessary to be an NFL cornerback.
Yeah, no, it's just think, even a shred of athleticism, you might have been able to do something.
Yeah. At least I looked the part, though, with Carrington Valentine there. Which, again, you can find that full conversation on YouTube, ESPN Milwaukee. And the fun part about that conversation, to Joshy's point on the defined distance, is I didn't really map out where we were going in my head. I just kind of walked, and the blocks we were walking on are not actual blocks. It doesn't end, so it's more of like a back and forth. I'm not even really sure how to explain it. It's more of a zigzag with no perfect block. So we couldn't just go around the block. We eventually had to turn around, which was slightly awkward. But other than that, great conversation with Packers quarterback Carrington Valentine, which you can find in full, ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube.
Did he know that he was going to have to walk and talk with you? Was that presented to him ahead of time?
Yeah.
Or did you just decide?
No, he was fully in the loop. The route we wanted to go changed last minute, though, because of all the fence lines. We were going to go through the Lambeau parking lot into the draft stage, except we couldn't get in there, even though I was like, hey, this guy plays for the Packers. Let him in. It didn't work.
That didn't sell him?
No, not enough. These security people are taking their jobs seriously, Joshy. I didn't even
I'm
let a
glad.
guy into the building. Yeah, virtual OTAs underway for the Packers, wrapping up, I believe today is the final, or rather tomorrow is the final day of virtual OTAs for the Green Bay Packers here in their offseason program as we get ready for day one of the NFL Draft. Day one of the NFL Draft tomorrow here in Green Bay. Joshy, does it feel, and I never want to say never on position groups, but it feels like there was an overwhelming chance that the Packers go edge or wide receiver in the first round. Of course, there's an off chance they go defensive tackle or offensive line or corner, but it feels like they've done their due diligence the most on those two spots, edge and wide receiver, and they feel like the two biggest needs in round number one. So I kind of want to hone in on those positions, but you feel like those are fair, or am I leaving one off?
No, I don't think you're leaving anything off. I think the two main ones are the two you mentioned, and then right after that, like a teardrop below, I would say is corner and then offensive line.
Yeah, I would agree.
Because I sort of view a pick of defensive tackle or defensive line kind of as the same thing. The desire is the same there, and that's improving the pass rush.
It's improving the pass rush. It's creating disruption. It's
Yes.
all the in-betweens, right? And something the Packers did not do enough of last year. Something they also didn't do enough of last year was catch the football. Two of their receivers, top 10 in drops in the NFL, and the Packers as a team, number one in the NFL last year in dropped passes. So let's get a poll out in the field, Hunter. We'll put it at ESPN Madison on Twitter. Which position would you rather the Packers draft in the first round? edge or wide receiver? I just want to know that one straight up. Let's throw that on the poll. We'll throw that at ESPN Madison, at ESPN Milwaukee, and I'll on mine as well, at Alex_Strouf, STROUF on X. Twitter, we will dive into that conversation coming up next. And then at 12:45, the first ever radio version of Part-Time Will's Week in Review. It's Chris Berman-esque, where Will, tries to entertain us. He often makes jokes that go right over my head and make Joshy cackle. You're not going to want to miss that coming up at 12:45 this afternoon. All still ahead. We're with you until 2 o'clock. It's ESPN Wisconsin Draft Week, presented by American Family Insurance on ESPN Wisconsin and the all-new ESPN Wisconsin app.
Mr. Irrelevant is back after this on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Remember that first paycheck when you started working all those years ago? You were finally out on your own, earning money. You looked at the net amount and thought, whoa, what happened here? It can be this way with your retirement accounts. You know how much you've saved, but if you haven't planned for Uncle Sam, you could come up short in retirement. Don't let that happen. Set up a visit or a 15-minute phone meeting with Christian Finfrock, the Madison Money Guy, and his team at Retirement Income Strategies. Call 608-208-6890. That's 608-208-6890 for Christian Finfrock, the Madison Money Guy, and Retirement Income Strategies.
You, rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute is brought to you by Badgerland Exteriors, residential and commercial, roofing, siding, and solar. Visit BadgerlandExteriors.com to get started on your next project. Wisconsin's Jack Nelson hoping to get his shot in the NFL. The tackle on his growth during his 4 seasons as a Badger.
I learned to be a leader. I learned to deal with the ups and downs. I knew that, I learned to deal that everything's not going to be perfect. You're going to have a bad play. I learned to play a bunch of different styles of football, a bunch of different techniques. I had 4 O-line coaches. And, now sitting here, I think I'm an experienced, tough, durable, and better player with my poise.
Catch Nelson's full interview on the latest episode of The Jump Around, streaming on ESPN Madison's YouTube channel and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Everyone is talking about the draft, but you won't feel one from high-quality Pella Windows. Get no-interest financing options or free glass upgrades today at PellaWI.com.
Bo here from Ridgetop Exteriors. Southern Wisconsin got hit hard with hail recently. If your home took a beating, now's the time to take action. We've been delivering top quality roofing, siding, and window services locally for over 23 years. With free damage assessments and insurance experts on staff, we've been your licensed, local, and trusted contractor since day one. Don't wait until small damage becomes a big problem. Turn to Ridgetop Exteriors today. Ridgetopexteriors.com. That's Ridgetopexteriors.com.
Ridgetop Exteriors.
Mark Tauscher here for Prize Picks, the best place to turn your sports knowledge into cash. With millions of members, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Join millions of users and sign up today. Cash in on the basketball playoffs with Prize Picks. Don't miss your last chance to add your favorite players from the court to your Prize Picks lineup. Whether it's points, rebounds, assists, take your pick of more or less for your shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash today. Starting with the play-in round, every lineup you make on Prize Picks will enter you in the Takes 2 ticket sweepstakes, which could get you a +1, a VIP trip to the ship. Download the app today and use code WI to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code WI to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
The area's best high school sports coverage is Zimbrick Honda's presentation of Prep Mania.
Did you miss Hunter Vaughn and the Dean Dennis Semrau this week? No fear, you can listen back on the ESPN Wisconsin app. This week, they took a look at the top athletes from around the area, plus they were joined by the head track and field coach of Sun Prairie East, Doug Moan, as well as a future Badger and defending 400-meter champion, Nicole Repka of Verona. Again, you can listen back on the ESPN Wisconsin app.
The GRB Rays have established themselves as one of the top baseball programs in the Midwest and the country. GRB Academy offers training programs for players of all ages and skill levels. Learn from some of the best baseball coaches in the area and find the program that fits your training goals and your schedule. Spots are filling up fast, so visit grbacademy.com to sign up now. That's grbacademy.com. GRB Academy, baseball for the serious player.
we're on the Packers.
If they're not better this year,
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
there's going to be a lot of seats warming up.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN.
I got some good friends that live down the street. Got a good-looking woman with her arms round me. Live in a small town where it feels like home.
Mr. Relevant, ESPN Wisconsin Draft Week, presented by American Family Insurance with you, 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, 100.5 ESPN Madison. Both of those places on YouTube. And, of course, the all-new, sleek, sexy, redesigned ESPN Wisconsin app, which you can download wherever you get your apps, App Store, Google Play, etc. I got to be the first person to call that app sexy, but I stand by it. ESPN Wisconsin app available.
I mean, you
wherever.
use the word all the time. So
I do. It is one of my go-to words. Well, speaking of sexy, Hunter, good transition by you there. Alex Strouf, Hunter Vaughn, JOSHY DiMaggio with you here on Mr. Irrelevant. If the Packers go with either of these positions tomorrow at pick 23, or if they move up or move down, if they make a selection in the first round, if they go with either a wide receiver or an edge, I think every Packers fan goes home happy because I think it's very clear that those are the two positions of biggest need. I think you can talk about corner. You can always talk about offensive line depth or defensive line depth as a whole. You always need more, right? You want to be dominant. You need depth in case injuries hit you, and they always do in the NFL. You want to make sure you are prepared for the worst case scenario, especially in the trenches. So I get that. But I think in the first round, the number one pick the Packers have, the 23rd pick overall as it stands right now at 12:38 p.m. on Wednesday, if the Packers were to go with an edge rusher, somebody to help Rashawn Gary or Lucas Van Ness and company, Brenton Cox Jr., Kingsley Enagbare, or if they go wide receiver to join the group of Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, and Romeo Doubs to begin the season, I think Packers fans go home Thursday night happy. I don't think anybody's going to argue with that. But which position would you A, rather see, and which position do you B, think could make more of an immediate impact? Despite Brian Gutekunst saying earlier this week he does not need his first-round pick to be an immediate impact player, he's lying to you. He has championship expectations. They think this team is going to be good enough to compete for a Super Bowl. But as the youngest team in the National Football League, you are going to need to add pieces that can contribute to your football team right from the get-go, no matter what position that's at. Because if you look at the last few years, Packers have been a playoff team 2 years in a row now under the direction of quarterback Jordan Love since he's taken over as the starter. Think about rookies that have contributed. Jaden Reed, Tucker Kraft, Luke Musgrave 2 years ago on the offensive side of the football. Last year, it was more on the defensive side of the football. The year one guys contributed. Javon Bullard, Evan Williams, and obviously Adrian Cooper, who looks like he's going to be a dog in the NFL. All of those guys were immediate contributors in their rookie year. Not first-round picks, but immediate contributors. I think when you take a swing and you do the due diligence that Gutekunst has done this offseason with his top 30 visits on some of this top-end talent, as I mentioned a bit earlier, but 7, 8, 9 of those guys that he spent a top 30 visit with are expected to be drafted in the first round. When you spend as much time as he has on this top-end talent, I don't think you draft somebody at 23 and go, yep, redshirt year, when you feel like you are very close to being a Super Bowl team. You need a guy to contribute immediately. So whether that is a Shamar Stewart at edge out of Texas A&M, or that is a Matthew Golden or Tet McMillan or a Mecca Buka at wide receiver, which position would you rather see the Packers draft? I've said it all week, said it last week, I'll say it again today. It's a wide receiver for me. I think this defense is trending in a good direction, and while they still could use help on the edge, I'm hopeful that they're right in their diagnosis that this is more of a coaching issue than a personnel issue. And I think the Packers really desperately, with Christian Watson out until midseason, need a vertical threat. And I think you're going to have an option to pick one at pick 23 tomorrow. So my vote goes to the wide receiver position when we put them head-to-head, wide receiver or edge, what we would like to see the Packers do at pick 23. Let's go to JOSHY DiMaggio. JOSHY, edge or receiver?
I'm going to vote for edge. I think the edge position is such a position that unless you get a guy in the first round and get a guy that is someone expected to contribute immediately, I just don't see anyone second round or third round or later at that edge position making all that much of a difference right away. I think there are a couple guys at wide receiver you could make the case for. We still don't know if they will even be there, but I'm skeptical. And when I say skeptical, I'm not like out on any of them, but someone like Emeka Egbuka has me wondering how much of an impact is he going to make right away, or is he going to come in and sort of just be another guy in the mix that is, a 40 to 50 reception guy, and nice to have, make some play, but not a true difference maker. I think there are enough edges in this first round that some of these guys are going to make an instant impact. And I don't know if that's 10 sack seasons, but they're going to contribute in a meaningful way that I don't think you can find elsewhere in this draft. Whereas opposed to the wide receivers, I think there are going to be a few guys. Kyle Williams, Jalen Noel, like there are names out there that I think are going to matter sooner than maybe even some of those guys taken late first or early second, just because of the type of players they are. And sometimes those guys just go overlooked. Is it small school? Is it not big enough production? But they are NFL ready faster than you would think. I just don't think that translates at the edge position as well.
Okay, fair enough. I think, Joshy, I know you have opinions, and sometimes you get frustrated with the Packers, but you are not a very emotional Packers fan. I would argue I probably am an emotional Packers fan. If they went, let's just say, let's just throw out offensive line. If they picked an offensive lineman at 23 tomorrow, are you walking out of there going, ooh, I don't know about that? Or do you go, I guess I just got to trust the process?
I would be disappointed for sure. I don't think the Packers are in a desperation situation with the offensive line where they need to make 2 first-round picks in a row at that position. I think you have enough time. You can take a couple more picks this year, 2 or 3 of them if you'd like, and see if some of those guys surprise. Like everyone keeps mentioning, why do the Packers draft an offensive lineman in the first round if they're so good at drafting them later? That's not really a plan to build out a successful offensive line. But if you need to fill one spot next year, be it because Rasheed Walker or Sean Ryan goes out, I believe that the Packers defined a replacement for that, especially with Jordan Morgan already on the roster. I just think they are deep enough and they have enough guys there and talent there that they can figure it out and hopefully bring one along, maybe be a 4th or 5th round pick that would fill in next year and be a starter, and no one would really bat an eyelash. They'd be like, yeah, well, there goes Goody finding another pick, another really athletic multi-positional player guy who just kind of moved right in and played well.
The Carbless Talk and Text line, your way into Mr. Irrelevant, ESPN Wisconsin Draft Week, is 844-770-3776, 844-770-ESPN. Which position would you rather see the Packers pick in the first round, a wide receiver or an edge rusher? We will continue to take a look at that poll and read some of your responses throughout the show today, as that will be really good stuff. I mean, if they go either of those directions, I walk out of there very happy. If they go elsewhere, I'm not necessarily mad because I know they've been rumored to a guy like Maxwell Hairston at cornerback, or if they get a versatile offensive lineman like Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State, I don't think I'm mad. I don't think a first-round pick necessarily makes or breaks your Super Bowl potential or your how much of a championship caliber team you are, but it can certainly help. I don't think it makes or breaks, but I think it can certainly help, especially if you are to go get a guy that can plug into the offense or the defense and be an immediate contributor or a contributor very early on. I think that obviously helps a lot. Right, I think you think back to 2010, the last time the Packers won a Super Bowl. Their first-round pick ended up being a pretty darn good contributor. His name's Brian Bulaga, when he filled in for the injured Mark Tauscher, 2 guys you hear quite often here on ESPN Wisconsin. But under Goody, it just seems like his first-round picks haven't been immediate impact contributors. Jair was, Eric Stokes was, Quay Walker was, but that's kind of the end of the list in terms of guys that contributed game 1, year 1, under Brian Gutekunst as a first-round pick. Just fascinating how that's kind of been the trend the last several years here in Green Bay. Okay, coming up next on Mr. Irrelevant. We do this every Wednesday. Now, this I think will be number 4, number 3.
Number 3.
Number 3. Will Summers, part-time Will, formerly intern Will, now part-time producer Will Summers at ESPN Milwaukee, is he's an interesting fella. He's got a weird brain, man. And he puts it all to the test in a Wednesday edition of Will's Week in Review. This week, I believe it is on the NBA playoffs. And he is quoted as saying this, "Yeah, comma, I had to dumb down this week's edition for Strouf." So clearly he does not have a lot of faith in my mental capacity at catching some of the references he will make. Coming up next as we wrap up the first hour of ESPN Wisconsin Draft Week, Will's Week in Review is next on ESPN Wisconsin, the all-new ESPN Wisconsin app.
More Mr. Irrelevant coming up on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Hi, I'm attorney David Gruber. After an accident, you need a trusted winning team on your side. For more than 30 years, Gruber Law Offices has helped Wisconsin families get the results they deserve. If you've been injured, call our firm today for a free consultation. We're available 24/7. Wisconsin's own Gruber Law Offices, proud partner of your Milwaukee Brewers. One call, that's all.
It's time for the Milwaukee Basketball Report on 100.5 ESPN.
Lillard's going to tee up a three, and he splashes it through from the left wing.
Brought to you by Michelob Ultra, the official beer of the Milwaukee Bucks.
The Bucks find themselves in an 0-2 hole following a 123-115 loss to the Indiana Pacers in Game 2 of their best-of-7 series. Milwaukee mounted a 13-0 fourth-quarter rally to cut a 15-point deficit to 2, but couldn't get a stop down the stretch, according to head coach Doc Rivers.
When we got to get a stop, we did not get a stop. And to me, over anything else, we got to be able to get a stop on a call. We not only didn't get a stop, we gave up a 3. And those are the plays to me that are really breaking us.
Damian Lillard returned to the lineup for the first time since March 18th, scored 14 points, but only 3 of those came after halftime while shooting 4 of 13 from the field. The series now shifts back to the Brew City for a must-win Game 3 Friday night.
This has been your Milwaukee Basketball Report on Madison's home for Bucks basketball, 100.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Michelob Ultra.
Locally produced, handcrafted, award-winning spirits. Only one way to do cocktail night right, and that's with Door County Distillery. Hey, it's Alex Strouf. For 4 years now, I've been telling you the only way I do cocktail night right at the Strouf household, and that is with my friends at Door County Distillery. Whether it's a bourbon on the rocks, an old-fashioned made with their cherry brandy infused with Door County cherries, or something like a rum punch with the weather getting warm, it's always Door County Distillery. Find it wherever local spirits are sold or visit doorcountydistillery.com.
If you're looking for a special piece of jewelry for any occasion, Condon Jewelers is always there for you. Condon Jewelers has the best selection of jewelry you'll ever find and guaranteed to have the lowest prices in the Madison area. Free shipping is always available. Visit CondonJeweler.com or call 241-3406 and ask for Jim, the owner, who's at the store every day. Shop locally. Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side.
Picks are made every year with the NFL Draft as each team dreams fearlessly. Let's rewind for an American Family Insurance Green Bay Dream Pick.
An annual storyline with the green and gold is whether or not a new wide receiver will be drafted in the first round. It's something that hasn't happened since 2002.
Green Bay Packers exercised the 20th pick in this draft to select Javon Walker, wide receiver from Florida State.
Javon Walker, the big athletic wideout from Florida State, was taken 20th overall by Green Bay. After promising rookie and sophomore seasons, Walker spent his third season in 2004 breaking out and earning a Pro Bowl nod.
Favre throws, passes, caught for a touchdown, Walker. And the Green Bay Packers are out in
This
front.
Green Bay Dream Pick is presented by American Family Insurance. American Family Insurance is always a great pick because their agents are there to protect your dreams. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
The keys of a new Audi are in reach at Audi of Madison. Save $3,000 on a new 2025 Audi Q5, A3 sedan, A5 Sportback, or A6 sedan. National Credit is good towards the purchase, finance, or lease of a new Audi, but is only available until April 30th. Stop in and test drive today. Check out AudiMadison.com to see the current inventory and specials. Start your adventure at Audi Madison today, off the Beltline at Rimrock Road.
We're on the Packers.
You still want to see that steady play, that steady improvement, and you didn't get it from Jordan Love?
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
That just makes the stakes that much higher this season.
Nobody covers the green and gold like 100.5 ESPN.
Roll it on. It is ESPN Wisconsin Draft Week presented by American Family Insurance. Mr. Irrelevant with you until 2 o'clock this afternoon. Leading you to our guys, Kyle, Brust, and Nortman, coming up at 2 o'clock here on ESPN Wisconsin, the all-new ESPN Wisconsin app, and, of course, ESPN Wisconsin on YouTube. I'm Alex Strouf with you from the Tundra Trio, live in Green Bay, just outside of Lambeau Field. The rain has gone away. The song I sang in commercial break, Rain, Rain, Go Away. It listened. Sunny, 65 up here. We're having fun now. This is good. This is good. The weather has turned itself around here. JOSHY DiMaggio back in Milwaukee. Hunter Vaughn back in Madison. Before we get to what we're going to get to, JOSHY, do you know what is coming from our guy Will Summers?
Meaning, has he given me a preview? No. I have no idea. I don't even know specifically what this one's about. I imagine it's NFL draft themed. But this could be anything, I suppose.
I suppose it might be. All right, so each and every week on Wednesday, Will Summers, part-time Will, joins us on Mr. Irrelevant, and he delivers some sort of update. He tells us about something going on in the sports world. He is wearing a Cleveland Cavaliers jersey, so I would imagine it might not be about the NFL draft.
Yeah, Josh didn't really get the context clues, I guess.
Apparently not, as you are rocking a...
I try not to look at you.
Who's on the back of that jersey, Will?
It's LeBron James. It's an all-star jersey from a couple years ago I thrifted.
Okay, I like that. Will Summers, time to shine as he gives us his Chris Berman-esque update. It is time now on Mr. Irrelevant for Will's Week in Review.
All right, the Pistons evened up the series with the Knicks after a Game 1 loss thanks to Cade Cunningham Porter, who was playing far from the sandlot at Madison Square Garden, but said, "Do you want some more of that?" as he dropped 33 points in Game 2 for the Pistons' first playoff win in 17 years to even the series at 1-1 heading back to Detroit. It was a tough Game 1 for the Bucks against the Pacers as they could not stop the Superman that is Pascal Siakam Newton as he panthered the Bucks for 25 points and looked like Brad Nortman as he punted the Bucks' chances of winning Game 1. In Game 2, the Bucks returned Damian Lillard to their lineup, and when Pacers guard Tyrese Haliburton was asked if it would affect him, he said, "I don't know, Jim," as he quarterbacked his boys with 12 assists and then went to CBS, the clutch basket system, and dropped 21 points in a Game 2 win over the Bucks. Game 1 between the Clippers and the Nuggets came all the way down to the wire and ultimately went to overtime thanks to Russell Wilson Westbrook showing that his play was unlimited by consistently trying to lose and win the game for the Nuggets at the same time. But he played tremendous defense as a ball hawk, running down the court like a Bronco, and stealing the ball on many occasions down the stretch in a giant Game 1 win for the Nuggets. Nice. In Game 2, it was all Kawhian Seacrest Leonard as he showed why he is still America's idol and dropped 39 points in a 105-102 Clippers win to even up the series. While facing a Thunder team with a 68-14 regular season record, the Grizzlies consistently practiced like Mark Wahlberg and his teddy bears. They sang, "When you hear the sound of thunder, don't you get too scared." But that ultimately proved to be ineffective as Jalen Serena Williams served up 20 points in a game-set match 51-point win for the Thunder. The Lakers have evened up the series with the Timberwolves thanks to Luke Uncle Phil Doncic, who was catching passes from Will Dorian Finney-Smith and dropped 31 points in a Game 2 win to even up that series heading back to Minnesota. Wow. Despite an uneasy feeling in his stomach due to a wrist injury, Jason Tatum's was able to manage 17 points in a 103-86 Game 1 win over the Magic. They will play again tonight, Game 2 in Boston. Looking like Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark, Steven Spielberg Curry showed his bravery against the 2-seed Rockets as he went for 31 points in a 95-85 Game 1 win Game 2 tonight in Houston. While Donovan Mitchell led the Cavs with 30 points, Ty Dolla $ign Jerome showed why he's in the running for Sixth Man of the Year as he was cashing it in from behind the arc, shooting 5 of 8 with 28 points in a 121-100 win over the Heat in Game 1. Game 2 will be tonight in Cleveland with your Mr. Irrelevant NBA playoff report. I'm Will Summers.
Wow. Very good again, Will. There was a couple doozies in there. The Will Smith, Uncle Phil, Luke. What did you call him? Luke, Uncle Phil, Doncic?
Yeah, that one was a stretch. I couldn't really think of anything to go with Luke's name.
Kawhian
Seacrest.
Yeah.
That one seemed A little ham-fisted, perhaps.
I almost took it out, but it made me laugh when I wrote it, so I was like, I got to keep it in.
It made me laugh as well. Very good. None of them went over my head, I don't think. Do you think any of them went over my head this week?
No, I made the Tony Romo one for you, the Tyrese Halliburton, Tony Romo. I figured you'd like that one.
Tyrese Halliburton, Tony Romo, I don't know, Jim. CBS Clutch Basket System, I believe is what you said?
Yes.
That was pretty good. Very good NBA update from Will Summers, who's also stepping in for me today. I'm Kyle Bruston-Ortman. Will, appreciate the update as always. We look forward to next Wednesday when I assume you'll give us an NFL draft update?
Yeah, we're going to do NFL draft. I got some really good ideas for that, so I'm pumped.
I'm also pumped. You never fail to deliver. We need to find a nickname for you. Will Summers. Okay, I'll work on that. All right, thanks, Will.
Since you mentioned that he is stepping in for you on KBN,
yeah.
How have you addressed the rumors, accusation, and innuendo that you have been mailing it in on KBN since going up to Green Bay this week?
Yeah, I think that's a bunch of bogus commentary, Joshy.
So the fact that you reused questions and sent those questions for Are You Smarter Than Brent Brust into the show, I should not take those as signals or symbols that maybe, yes, that's accurate, and I should throw those out the window.
I think you should throw those out the window. Those accusations are a bunch of garbage. I am innocent. I think I've done a great job remotely from Green Bay this week. And if you disagree with that, that's fine. But I think I've done great.
Alex Strouf somehow going 0 for 4 at the plate and acting like he's an all-star.
That makes one of you. There's one person in this room that believes that.
And that person would be me. Yeah. Self-awareness, Joshy, most important human quality. I've got plenty of it.
That is not something. If I were to list all the things that I think about Alex Strouf, self-awareness would be in the hundreds, 120.
Oh, come on, Joshy. Watch your mouth. Well, hey, coming up next, hour 2, ESPN Wisconsin Draft Week.
I would put athlete after self-awareness, just so you know.
Okay, appreciate the clarification.
That
was really necessary there, as I was teasing us to break. ESPN Wisconsin Draft Week, Mr. Irrelevant crew with you for another hour, leading into Kyle Bruston-Ortman, the aforementioned program that apparently I'm mailing it in on this week. Coming up next, couple of wide receivers who had top 30 visits with Green Bay are in Green Bay, expecting to hear their names called tomorrow. Had the distinct pleasure, Joshua, just like you, to speak with me about their time in Green Bay. We are going to hear from Matthew Golden of Texas, Tet McMillan of Arizona coming up next. How did they respond to the question, you think you could play here? We will hear from both of those guys and react to the audio. Which receiver sounds a little bit more excited about the idea of being a Green Bay Packer? We dive into that coming up next. ESPN Wisconsin Draft Week on ESPN Wisconsin. And, of course, the all-new ESPN Wisconsin app.
Ben Brust here to tell you about the Princeton Club. If you're looking for a place where you can better yourself while having a wonderful atmosphere, you have it at the Princeton Club. Strong communities, strong body, and strong mind. All it takes is one small step to start today. You will see that you have everything you need in order to achieve all of your goals. Find your better tomorrow at the Princeton Club. 8 Madison locations where you go in there, you take a tour, and you realize this is a place for me. Find more at PrincetonClub.net.
As clutch of a player to ever play basketball.
It's game time on Season 4 of Behind the Bucks on Bucks Plus.
This year I was like, I need to impose myself more on this team.
Explore Damian Lillard's journey to becoming a top 75 player in NBA history.
That's what really had me feeling like this is going to be great.
Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and H&R benefits consultant. Find Bucks Plus on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and wherever you get podcasts.
Drum roll, please.
Carbless is here with refreshing new flavors. Introducing their Tropical Bliss Variety Pack. Let the summertime flavors of blood orange, watermelon, raspberry, and grapefruit whisk you away from the winter blues. New flavors, same great Carbless perks. Every handcrafted cocktail still has 0 sugar, 0 carbs, and just 100 calories. Find the Tropical Bliss Variety Pack in store wherever Carbless is sold and enjoy your winter passport to paradise. Grab a pack today and discover why less is more with Carbless.
When you've been injured, you need a winning team on your side. Gruber Law Offices will fight for the results you deserve. Call Gruber Law Offices today, a proud partner of your Milwaukee Brewers. One call, that's all.
Sports Center updates on 100.5 ESPN are brought to you by Metro Kia of Madison. Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or visit metrokiaofmadison.com.
Hey, this is former Badger Brad Norton.
It's a fake. Great call and great execution.
You're listening to a Good Karma Brands radio station, 100.5 ESPN, WTLX, Monona, Madison.
The countdown to the NFL Draft in Green Bay is on. This is Mr. Irrelevant with Alex Strouf, powered by ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app. Broadcasting live from the shadow of Lambeau Field at the Tundra Trio. Here's Alex Strouf.
And away we go, Mr. Relevant, ESPN Wisconsin Draft Week with you right here, 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee, 100.5 ESPN in Madison, ESPN Madison, and ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. And, of course, the all-new, brand-new ESPN Wisconsin app. I'm Alex Strouf with you live from Green Bay, just outside of 2025 NFL Draft HQ. The stage about 100, 200 yards behind me here at the Tundra Trio in Green Bay. Festivities picking up, activities picking up. I think every bar in this area has a DJ and a band playing nonstop for the next 4 days, starting tonight. So it is getting fun up here in Green Bay as things really get rolling today. People getting into town, visitors getting into town, checking into their hotels, and then of course tomorrow is draft day. 2025 NFL Draft first round tomorrow. And you can catch our coverage right here on ESPN Wisconsin beginning at 6 o'clock, ESPN Wisconsin Draft Night. I'll be with you. Homer will be with you. Gabe Neitzel will be with you. And Jason Wilde and special guests will join us throughout beginning at 6 o'clock tomorrow night, leading you all the way through the entirety of the first round, probably until about midnight. So 6 p.m. to midnight will be our NFL Draft coverage. You can watch it on YouTube and, of course, hear it on these very stations as well as 620 WTMJ. Two guys' names who will likely be called tomorrow each had a top 30 visit with the Packers. They each play wide receiver. And they each are projected first-round picks in tomorrow's first round of the NFL Draft. Tet McMillan of Arizona, Matthew Golden of Texas, both in Green Bay right now, just did a fun Play 60 event with some youth football players. And then were available to the media, so had the opportunity to catch up with each of them pretty briefly. But I got to ask them about their time in Green Bay and everything they have going on. Let's start with the best receiver in the 2025 NFL Draft. Arizona wideout Tet McMillan just a few hours ago here in Green Bay.
What have the last few weeks been like for you, obviously? Going all over the country, visiting with different teams, getting ready for what ultimately comes tomorrow. What has that just been like for you?
Yeah, I tell everybody this, man. It's this process is super long and exhausting, super long. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's a blessing. You know, not too many people get to experience it. So, you know, whether it's flying from West Coast to East Coast, whether it's going to the South, going to the Midwest, you know, taking a bunch of flights, at the end of the day, it's a blessing. And, you know, I'm just super grateful that I get to experience that.
Apologize if I'm asking you this for the second time, but you spent some time here in Green Bay a couple weeks ago. What was that like?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was good vibes. You know, I immediately came to the facility and they showed me nothing but love. So, I know that if I'm fortunate enough to come over here, you know, I'm in good hands.
All right, Tet McMillan, if he's fortunate enough to come to Green Bay, he knows he's in good hands. That's a good compliment for Matt LaFleur and the Packers offensive staff and some of the room that he would be potentially joining if Tet McMillan does fall to 23 and the Green Bay Packers. How about Matthew Golden, viewed as the second best wide receiver in this year's NFL Draft, coming out of Texas, good speed, and certainly an option at 23 for the Green Bay Packers. Here's Matthew Golden just a few hours ago with me here in Green Bay.
How's this week been?
It's been good, man. It's been a blessing. I've been waiting for this opportunity to be here. You know, now that I'm actually here, man, it's crazy. You know, I dreamed of this since I was 6. And, you know, now that I'm here, man, it's just I can't even explain the feeling.
Have the last few weeks just been a whirlwind? Yeah. Visits and traveling, and sum that up for us. How's that been?
It's definitely a part of the process. You know, I embraced it. Just like I said, you know, a lot of people don't get this opportunity, so I'm just taking it day by day. And, you know, just knowing where I'm at, being present, and just knowing that I can give thanks to the Lord for putting me in this situation. Without him, I wouldn't be here. And, you know, I'm just, like I said, I'm just taking it day by day, man, and enjoying it.
It's not your first time in Green Bay. You took a top 30 visit with the Packers. What's it like being back, and how was that?
Yeah, definitely feel like home, you know, somewhere I can see myself, you know. Any organization that's getting me, you know, you definitely getting a true dog, a true competitor, you know, somebody that got a chip on their shoulder like they got something to prove. So, you know, just like I said, just getting the opportunity to go to the NFL, man, that's all it's about. And, you know, whatever opportunity I do get, I'm going to make the most of it.
Whatever opportunity he gets, he will make the most of it. That's Texas wide receiver Matthew Golden. So just to recap, I asked them both pretty much the same question. The idea of coming to the Green Bay Packers. Let's hear once more from Tet McMillan of Arizona on his thoughts on potentially coming to Green Bay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was good vibes. You know, I immediately came to the facility, and they showed me nothing but love. So, I know that if I'm fortunate enough to come over here, I know that, you know, I'm in good hands.
Okay, that's Tet McMillan. Now Matthew Golden on the idea of coming to Green Bay.
Definitely feel like home, you know, somewhere I can see myself.
Okay, JOSHY DiMaggio back in Milwaukee. You hear from Tet McMillan. You hear from Matthew Golden. Do either of those responses make you go, dang it, I really want that guy?
I'm having a hard time differentiating. I think they said the same exact thing with the same amount of positivity, just in different ways.
Okay, let's hear real quick. Let's hear from him one more time. Let's go back to Tet McMillan, Arizona.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was good vibes. Yeah, I mean, you know, I immediately came to the facility, and they showed me nothing but love. So, I know that if I'm fortunate enough to come over here, I know that, you know, I'm in good hands.
Okay, let's go back to Texas, just east of Arizona, with Matthew Golden.
Definitely feel like home, you know, somewhere I can see myself.
Does that help you?
No, because the only difference is he said home, but I'd be in good hands here, and they've been, like, really good to me, is basically saying the same exact thing to me. It seems like the Packers rolled out the red carpet for both of them and tried to make a really damn good impression of how they would work in Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love's offense.
Totally.
That's what I'm getting out of this.
Oh, I mean, without a doubt, and you and I have talked about this for several weeks now, Joshy, is the idea that they have, to your point, rolled out the red carpet. They have said they have done their due diligence on these top-level receivers, indicating that, yes, there is real interest. The Packers could go wide receiver at pick 23 tomorrow. I was a little disappointed, Joshy. Emeka Egbuka, he either wasn't invited or didn't accept the invite to Green Bay, so he is not up here for the NFL draft. But I would love to ask him the same question.
Yeah, I believe he was once expected to be there, and then as the process went on, he was no longer there. Now, this could be anything from a company's willing to throw him a draft party and they're paying him to do it, or he got news that he might not be drafted until very late first round or into the second.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say, Joshy. And you're more of the and I don't mean this in a demeaning way. You're more of the draft nerd on this panel.
Mm-hmm.
It seems
self-described.
Self-described, yep. Self-appointed. It seems in terms of what is expected in the way they would come off the board, it goes 1, Tet McMillan, 2, Matthew Golden, 3, Emeka Egbuka.
Yes, there are slight chances that somebody falls in love with Jaden Higgins from Iowa State just based on size, speed, and production. But obviously, being from Ohio State and being as productive as Egbuka was, it would totally make sense for him to be the third one, which is actually the fourth because Travis Hunter is still also a wide receiver.
I guess Travis Hunter technically counts, doesn't he?
Yeah, and there's been some news. The latest I've heard about Travis Hunter is some teams want him wide receiver first, which might be just the team that he's getting drafted by telling him that, or there's people who actually believe that.
So I will tell you this. Travis Hunter was also at this media event, Joshy, and I mentioned this at the top of the show, but I want to rehash it. Travis Hunter was asked, every team you've talked to is okay with you playing both ways, and he said, yes, I plan on playing both ways. And then he was asked by a Jacksonville Jaguars reporter if, when you were announced by Roger Goodell in the draft, typically they say, Joshua DiMaggio, running back, University of Wisconsin Whitewater, right? So they say name, position, school, one position. Travis Hunter was asked the commissioner, he legitimately asked him to say both positions. And then he said, yes, they will say wide receiver and cornerback or cornerback and wide receiver. And then he was asked if he has a preference of which one comes first. And he said, no, I just want to play both.
Yeah, that seems to be the case. Now, I think in the NFL, It's not going to be like Colorado where he plays virtually every single snap both ways. I think there's going to be some mixing and matching, and maybe we take some plays off on each side throughout the court. Because, I mean, as we know in the NFL, there are very rarely, other than like the offensive line and quarterback, guys that stay on the field for every single play. And same goes for the defense besides like a few of those guys as well. Like, you could make a better case he'd be on the field every play at corner, but I just kind of envision that hard to believe.
Why don't they just introduce him as an athlete? Since like that's what he was listed as coming out of high school.
Utility player, like in the MLB?
Yeah. Like they already have a term for this. Why can't they just use that?
I think just because they know exactly like what he wants to be playing. Like to me, an athlete, when I think athlete out of college, high school, I think guy who can play quarterback, also running back, also wide receiver. You just got to figure out which one works the best for him at the next level.
I mean, I feel like eventually they're going to do the same thing with him. Like, I don't see him 3 years from now still playing both ways. Like, I think it'll be one of those where he'll realize, like, oh, I can make a bunch of money if I am just doing one of these. But I'm going to beat myself up too much. Like, I think eventually he'll just figure that out. And then he's going to pick one. So you could still go the athlete route with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think there's pride.
I know, I'm the only person in the world that
positions.
cares about this.
Yep.
And I could see it in your faces, but I'm just like, this is just weird. Like, I just need to share with everyone that I find this dumb and a little weird.
I mean, Thomas chimes in on the ESPN Milwaukee YouTube chat. He says, Travis Hunter double position is a money grab for him. If he plays both ways and excels, his contract ask goes up exponentially, which is accurate, right? Like those are two super highly paid positions, receiver and cornerback, two of the highest paid positions after quarterback.
But he's not going to get double the salary because he plays both of them well.
No, but
unfortunately.
If he gets through those first 4 years on a rookie deal, and he's still playing both at the end of that contract and playing both well, he might be trickling into quarterback money at that point.
Yeah, I don't see that. I think he's going to be paid. If he's as good and an all-pro level player at either one of them, he's just going to be paid at the top of the market for that specific position.
Yeah.
I think he'll have a hard time convincing NFL GMs that, yeah, you should pay me like a quarterback just because I play both ways.
I think he's got a case to make if he does it well, but
he would need to be Shohei Ohtani.
But also, right, that's actually a great comparison to Shohei Ohtani. But I would say the other thing, though, Joshy, is right now these teams are saying, yes, we will let you go both ways. I think it's very likely that by the end of his rookie year, he's only playing one of the two. Primarily.
I think that's fair. I don't know if it'll be quite that soon, just because I think he'll show flashes on both sides, and it'll be kind of like, well, we got to kind of figure it out. But if I believe by his second contract, there will be primarily I do this, but I also on occasion help here.
I'll tell you what, this dude is one of the most fascinating draft prospects ever. He just is. I mean, there's nobody that's ever gone into the league like this, at least in recent memory, where you go, okay, I'm going to play both. I'm going to play corner and I'm going to play receiver. And he's a reigning Heisman Trophy winner by playing both of those positions. He's just fascinating to me. So I'm excited to see, ultimately, I think it'll be the Cleveland Browns at pick number 2, where he winds up and if they stick to their word of letting him play both positions. We heard from Matthew Golden. We heard from Tet McMillan earlier this segment. Jay chiming in, ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube, says, what are they supposed to say on the prospect of playing in Green Bay? They can say whatever they want. I just thought it feels like home. They've been good to me. I mean, yeah, of course they're not going to trash the Green Bay Packers, but I thought it was interesting responses.
I don't want it to get lost in how you – because we've spent a lot of time talking about wide receiver, all the programs across ESPN Wisconsin have. When was the last time we heard a wide receiver that was slated to be a first-round pick say, like, yeah, I could definitely see myself playing there and I would, like, welcome it? Never? 23 years ago when Javon Walker might have ran into somebody from Green Bay? Like, that is still super unique and super interesting given the context and us trying to figure out where they end up. The Packers, from those responses, have made it quite clear they have a desire for those guys to be first-round picks for them. And to me, that is very interesting, very important, and helps us sort of piece together what I still think it's plus odds. Like, I still think defensive line, defensive tackle, or edge are more likely. But the Packers have, their approach has been, if this guy is there and it makes sense on our board, we are going to draft them, and they are going to be Green Bay Packers.
It does seem to me, though, Joshy, at pick 23, it is more likely they go, or they will have options at receiver than they do at the defensive line. Because
yes.
the guys that they really like are likely going to be late, like Abdul Carter's not slipping to 23, right? He's going to go 3,
Right.
4, 5 overall. I mean, you've got some other names in there that I've mentioned that took the top 30 visits with Green Bay that could slide, but I don't know that they will, right? Specifically, Mykel Williams, Shamar Stewart, James Pierce Jr. might be there, but he might fall to the second round. Walter Nolan, the defensive tackle out of Ole Miss, might be there, but do they like a receiver more than Nolan? That's ultimately the question. If Tet McMillan's there at 23, I would be stunned if the Packers don't take him, unless there is one of those other names I just mentioned still sitting there also. If it's Shamar Stewart versus Tet McMillan, that's when I go, oh, boy, I have no idea what they're going to do here. But I think at the wide receiver position, there are just going to be more options for them at 23, which is why I think it's such a realistic possibility the Packers break the 23-year streak of not picking a wide receiver of the first round tomorrow night here in Green Bay. I know we've talked about the idea of like added pressure, right? Does Brian Gutekunst feel added pressure because the draft is right outside of his office and he's going to be able to hear the roar or the boo of the crowd depending on what he does at pick 23? I don't think it changes his game plan. I don't think it changes his philosophy. But there's got to be at least 1%, something in the back of his mind of, oh boy, if I pick an offensive guard here, they're going to riot, which they're not going to. But just a thought. Maybe there is a little sliver of indecisiveness in the back of his head because the draft is in Green Bay. And obviously we know the reaction. If the Packers are to draft a wide receiver, Joshy, it is going to be so loud here in Green Bay.
Bedlam.
The roar is just going to be immaculate.
Bedlam. It's going to be absolute chaos.
Bedlam. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Are you concerned at all, like, if they do go wide receiver, like, the amount of pressure that then gets put on that poor receiver? Like, I feel instantly bad for them because that's going to be awful.
You're totally right. Now, if they draft, again, let's just use the name Tet McMillan because it's the first that's coming to mind. If they are to draft Tet McMillan at pick 23, everybody's reaction is he is the number one wide receiver. Mm-hmm. It's not Jaden Reed. It's not Dontavian Wicks. It's not Romeo Doubs. The initial thought, at the end of April, before OTAs begin, actual OTAs, not the virtual OTAs they're participating in this week. When training camp comes around, when the preseason comes around, the instant thought by the fan base, including us, I will say I will be guilty of this, is going to say, oh, Tet McMillan's the Packers' number one receiver. They've got a really good room. Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks going to take a step. They're not going to drop as many balls as they did a year ago. Right? Like, that's going to be the mindset of Packers fans if they do pull the trigger. So good point by you, Hunter. There is going to be immense pressure on if a wide receiver is drafted. But I think you could make the same case for an edge rusher because let's just be honest, right? No offense to him. I like the guy, but he hasn't been very good for them, and he was a first-round pick 2 years ago. Lucas Van Ness has done nothing as a first-round pick at the edge rusher. So if they draft another one, there's, of course, going to be instant pressure for that guy, too, if it's a Shamar Stewart or a James Pierce Jr.
But edge rushers don't score touchdowns. Edge rushers don't sell the most jerseys.
You can't
unless
draft
you're,
them on your fantasy team.
Yeah, unless it's Micah Parsons level defensive player, they don't get the same level of pressure. Like,
Well,
it's just, it never comes close.
True.
The one good thing is, and I don't want to stereotype here, but typically first-round wide receivers have no problem having a few extra eyes on them. That's typically a thing they enjoy. They like the pressure. They like the attention.
Oh, yeah.
They like I don't know Tet McMillan versus Matthew Golden, all that, but the most successful ones seem to relish the spotlight.
I mean, the other thing about first-round picks in the NFL draft is they've been in the spotlight for years now, right? Think about how good they were in high school in order to go to these massive universities and then become stars at the said universities. They've been in the spotlight forever. Now, it's a little bit more amplified when you're at the NFL draft and every media market is here, right? Like Travis Hunter actually made a comment about, answering all these questions, and he said, yeah, I'm just used to this. This is not abnormal for me whatsoever. So you're right, but I don't know, man. We're trying to manifest it. Trying to manifest the first-round wide receiver here on Mr. Relevant. It's ESPN Wisconsin Draft Week, presented by American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly with American Family Insurance. Visit amfam.com Alex Strouf, Josh DiMaggio, Hunter Vaughn with you. Coming up next, we play a game we play each and every Wednesday. Hunter's got a list of topics. Joshy and I reply in one word. It's as simple as that. We call it One Word Wednesday. That is next right here on Mr. Irrelevant.
Mr. Irrelevant is back after this on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Listen to Madison Money Guy every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. on 100.5 ESPN and ESPNWisconsin.com.
I like to refer to inflation as the silent killer. It's an invisible risk. It's just the idea that things get more expensive over time. You're going to need milk and eggs when you're in your early 60s and when you're in your early 80s. You're going to get a loaf of bread, and it's going to be more expensive 20 years from now.
Christian Finfrock is the Madison Money Guy. Call him today at 208-1800.
It's time for the Milwaukee Basketball Report on 100.5 ESPN.
Lillard's going to tee up a three, and he splashes it through from the left wing.
Brought to you by Michelob Ultra, the official beer of the Milwaukee Bucks.
The Bucks find themselves in an 0-2 hole following a 123-115 loss to the Indiana Pacers in Game 2 of their best-of-7 series. Milwaukee mounted a 13-0 fourth-quarter rally to cut a 15-point deficit to 2, but couldn't get a stop down the stretch, according to head coach Doc Rivers.
When we got to get a stop, we did not get a stop. And to me, over anything else, we got to be able to get a stop on a call. We not only didn't get a stop, we gave up a three. And those are the plays to me that are really breaking us.
Damian Lillard returned to the lineup for the first time since March 18th, scored 14 points, but only 3 of those came after halftime while shooting 4 of 13 from the field. The series now shifts back to the Brew City for a must-win Game 3 Friday night.
This has been your Milwaukee Basketball Report on Madison's home for Bucks basketball, 100.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Michelob Ultra.
Chevy Truck Month is back. Get more truck for your buck at Zimbrick Chevrolet in Sun Prairie. Right now, get 2.9% APR financing for 72 months and $6,000 off MSRP on a 2025 Chevy Silverado. That's right, 2.9% for 6 years. That really is more truck for your buck. But hurry, offer ends on April 30th. Never overpay. Shop Zimbrick Chevrolet. No down payment required. Monthly payments equal $15.15 per 1,000 financed with approved credit through GM Financial.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance. Like your first home expansion or your first big lightning strike. There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Family's agents. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Attention business owners and executives. Looking for a bank that's invested in your community as you are? Look no further than Starion Bank. As a Dane County community bank, Starion offers competitive deposit and loan rates while actively supporting local initiatives. Visit a business banker at one of our convenient branches in Middleton, Monona, and Sun Prairie. Starion Bank, full-service business banking, lending, and cash management.
Mark Tauscher here for Prize Picks, the best place to turn your sports knowledge into cash. With millions of members, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Join millions of users and sign up today. Cash in on the basketball playoffs with Prize Picks. Don't miss your last chance to add your favorite players from the court to your Prize Picks lineup. Whether it's points, rebounds, assists, take your pick of more or less for your shot to win up to 2,000 times your cash today. Starting with the play-in round, every lineup you make on Prize Picks will enter you in the Takes 2 ticket sweepstakes, which could get you a +1, a VIP trip to the ship. Download the app today and use code WI to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code WI to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.
We're on the Badgers.
There are moments where it feels like you're close, but taken holistically, those look like blips.
Because we're on Wisconsin sports.
To win a championship, you have to consistently be that team.
This is 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
Mr. Relevant, ESPN Wisconsin Draft Week. I'm Alex Strouf with you live from Green Bay. Sun is shining, baby. We are just over 24 hours away from the first round of the NFL draft and the party of the year here in the state of Wisconsin. Things really coming together up here in Green Bay. Really neat setup. And it is going to be just a phenomenal experience. My one piece of advice would be this. Take your time. If you're coming from Madison, if you're coming from Milwaukee or anywhere in the state outside of Green Bay, take your time. Got to talk a little bit with the mayor of Green Bay this morning prior to his appearance on WTMJ. And he said, yeah, every report I've seen between 250 and 300,000 people expected, out-of-towners expected in Green Bay, in the Green Bay area this week. So make sure you take your time in terms of travel if you're coming up Thursday, Friday, or Saturday for the NFL draft. But going to be a really, really awesome event and a great time here in Green Bay. JOSHY DiMaggio, Hunter Vaughn with us. It is time for a weekly game we play every week on Wednesday. Hunter Vaughn has a list of topics and events and happenings in the sports world. JOSHY and I reply, or attempt to, with one word, and sometimes more than one word because we don't know how to follow our own rules. Hunter Vaughn, take it away.
All right, we begin with speaking at the Detroit Economic Club, Lions team president Rod Wood mentioned that the NFL draft attendance record was set in Detroit last year, and he said, quote, "There's no way Green Bay will come close. They'll finish second, or as I said off stage, they'll finish third like they did last year."
Yep. Rent. The word is rent. Despite them being champions of the NFC North, 3 years in a row now? 2 years in a row? Rent-free, baby. Rent is my word.
I will say cute. Little brother syndrome. What the draft being in Green Bay has to do with anything to do with Detroit other than them previously hosting it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. A weird time to do that? Not. They are not used to winning, and everyone there seems to make it abundantly clear.
Yes, correct. And, even going back to when Ben Johnson, the new head coach of the Bears, was introduced, he took a shot at the Packers coming from that building. It seems to be a thing they often do in Detroit is make jokes about the Packers, but the last time I looked at their trophy case, it's empty.
Yes.
The Milwaukee Bucks fell to the Indiana Pacers in Game 2 last night, 123-115. Now trail 2-0.
Nervous. Officially nervous. I mean, I'm glad this series comes back to Milwaukee on Friday night and Sunday for Games 3 and 4. I'm hopeful that Giannis can go unconscious and Damian Lillard can get back to, knock some of the rust off last night. But I'm nervous at 0-2.
Fork. Put a fork in him.
Oh, wow. You're calling it.
Put a fork in the season and put a fork in this iteration of the Bucks. It's not the right mixture of players. It's going to be an interesting offseason in Milwaukee.
I do not love that energy from JOSHY. That's not great.
Yeah. Positive news. The Milwaukee Brewers won 11-3 over the Giants last night.
Fun. The word is fun. The Spurs team is fun. You don't really know what to expect ever. The starting pitching has been just really strange. Who would have thought Jose Quintana 3-0 to start the year? I didn't see that one coming. My boy Sal Frelick having a nice season. JOSHY's boy Bryce Terang, really nice night last night. Reached every time he was at the plate. 4 hits for him last night. This is a really fun team. I'm going with a super basic word. It's fun.
I was going to go Terang, but you stole my thunder there with his, what else? How about this? Dingers.
Dingers, baby. Dingers.
Well, speaking of, Christian Yelich hit a grand slam in the win. That was my next one.
Dingers.
Back, which is a double entendre. He's
nice.
Back. And his back is good.
Yeah, JOSHY.
I dominate this segment.
Yeah, you're good at this game, man. You're really good at this.
The opening weekend of the NBA playoffs was its most watched in 25 years, averaging 4.4 million viewers.
Yeah, the word's buzz here. I think the NBA is in a really interesting spot because the West was so damn competitive down to the wire, right? Isn't it a game or 2 games that separate the 3 through 8 seeds? That's awesome, and that means your 3-6 matchup is super even, which is the Lakers and the Timberwolves. When you look at the Eastern Conference, I think there's a lot of intrigue to some of these series. I mean, obviously, Bucks and Pacers has the intrigue because it's developed into this awesome rivalry. It's a rematch of last year. But just across the board, there is a lot of buzz about this NBA postseason, and it feels like there's some clear favorites, right? The Thunder are really good. The Cavs are really good. The Celtics are really good. But anything can happen in a 7-game series. So I think there's intrigue because there's also parity would be another good word here this year in the NBA.
I'm going to go season because the NBA should shorten their season, expand their playoffs, and play more meaningful games and less of the certain team is down by 70 points because they don't care about they're trying to get Cooper flag. I think the stakes are helpful. I think there's enough stars to make the league interesting across them. There's enough young players that I think as the old guard, the LeBrons, Stephs, KDs make their way out, there are plenty of guys that are very exciting, and I think people are really interested to watch. We saw Anthony Edwards sort of take over the playoffs for the T-Wolves. I think like Cade Cunningham has been an interesting guy to watch. We got Paolo Banchero. Like there's a lot of young guys that people want to see, but we also have to watch them either sit out games and their team loses by 30, or they play and they don't play a team that has anyone else playing in them. I think they need more playoffs and more games that actually matter.
Well, Josh, I'm glad that you mentioned Anthony Edwards because Shams tweeted yesterday that Anthony Edwards is in a little bit of hot water. He's being fined $50,000 for yelling "my is bigger than yours" at a Lakers fan.
Yeah, this one I gotta take I don't know if we'll need. It's brag. It wasn't the inappropriate word. It's unbecoming to brag about yourself in that way, Anthony Edwards. Have some decorum.
Next.
NFL Nation mock draft came out. They have Tet McMillan going to the Dallas Cowboys at number 12.
Yeah, I saw this. The very first word that popped into my head was Hunter. For you.
And right after that, Jerry.
Yeah, Jerry. This would be a Jerry pick.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys are approaching this interestingly because, and Hunter's a Cowboys fan for those of you that aren't aware, they have CeeDee Lamb, so it's not like they don't have any receivers. They just don't have a lot of depth behind him, and it seems like they're almost taking the Cincinnati Bengals approach with 2 really high-level receivers and pairing them together and hoping that unlocks Dak Prescott, or if he gets injured like he has the last several years, whoever their backup is these days. So, yeah, Hunter was my word.
I don't want to undersell Tet's abilities. I think he would be a perfectly fine 12th overall pick. I do want to know, though, how many of Arizona's games were on local broadcast for Jerry in Dallas.
Oh, it was a ton. I don't even have to look it up. It was a ton. My dream scenario of getting Tet to the Cowboys is that Shadur Sanders falls to 12. The Steelers then trade up from 21 to 12, and then the Cowboys can take Tet at 21. And that way then they get extra picks. They still get their guy, and they aren't taking somebody that they could get at like 17, 18.
And they snub the Packers in the process 2 picks ahead of time? Yeah, I don't like that.
Make me feel real good.
That would require an awful lot of discipline that I don't know Jerry is capable of.
Well said.
Exactly. Rob Domofsky for the NFL Nation mock draft has the Packers taking Shamar Stewart at number 23.
Yeah. Need. It's a need. I saw this. I think JOSHY is also predicting Shamar Stewart to the Packers. I believe I've seen this on our video feed. If you're watching ESPN Milwaukee, ESPN Madison on YouTube, on the left side of the screen there. When JOSHY's pops up, it says Shamar Stewart. So, yeah, JOSHY's calling this, but it's a need. It's edge or receiver. That's kind of been the theme of our show today. I think that'll ultimately be what happens at 23. And if it's Shamar Stewart, fine. I'm good with it.
I'm going to say, let's say cautious. We've spent so much time on various programs saying the Packers are short of superstars. I've also heard people say, I don't want a fixer-upper, and I don't want a guy that has low college production and is a workout warrior.
And he is absolutely one of them.
At pick 23 in the NFL draft, to find a superstar, you're going to have to do some projection. You are going to have to take a guy that didn't produce at a high level, but has the ability to, based on his athleticism, to get there. So I'm cautiously optimistic that he can be that guy, and I know the Packers have failed at it, but another Rashawn Gary, I don't think makes a difference for the Packers. Or another, like a safe pick here, I don't know, like, what does that do for the Green Bay Packers? They get marginally better? Is that what you want?
Yeah, sure, but I guess if you want an instant contributor, is Shamar Stewart that guy, right? He played 3 years at Texas A&M, leaving school early after 3 years. 1.5 sacks, 1.5 sacks, 1.5 sacks every single year of his college season.
I think instant contributor, I think, is as much on the player as it is on the coaching. I think that's true. Contribution over a period of time, now be it his third or fourth year, and it still hasn't improved, then you can point to the player. But instant, I think that it has to be coaching staff and the people who are working with him directly. Because, yes, it is a change going from college to the NFL, and you need good coaches to help you along that way.
In the same mock draft, NFL Nation reporters have Emeka Ibuka going number 25 to Houston and Matthew Golden going number 26 to the Rams.
Availability is going to be my word here. I'm fascinated to see how this board falls, man. Because if the Packers go edge and pass up both of those wide receivers, clearly they love Shamar Stewart, which they did also host on a top 30 visit. I'm fascinated to see who is available at 23 and who Goody likes the best, because you never know with him. It could always be something that comes out of left field and a name we haven't been talking about. But for a guy like me who would really like to see them break the 23-year trend of not drafting a receiver in the first round, availability is what I'm curious about.
Drama. If the Packers go with a Shamar Stewart, a projectable guy, a guy who's another workout warrior, and let go the first-round picks that we've all sort of projected or hemmed and hawed as first round, we would be tracking their progress through the NFL every step of the way and comparing the production of all of them to who the Packers actually ended up taking at that 23rd overall pick.
And then one last one. Snoop Dogg was on First Take this morning, and they asked him about Josh's favorite human being, Aaron Rodgers, and the possibility of him signing with the Steelers.
I missed this. Is Snoop Dogg a Steelers fan?
Yeah. Didn't know that, but apparently he is, because they said, "You're Steelers," and then they asked about Aaron Rodgers not signing. Snoop said, if he's going to sign, sign. If not, kick rocks.
Advice would be my word. That's good advice.
Agree.
Yep.
And that does it for One Word Wednesday here on Mr. Irrelevant, ESPN Wisconsin Draft Week, presented by American Family Insurance. We will put a bow on our edge or receiver conversation, at least for today. I'm sure we'll dive a little bit more into that throughout the rest of the week, especially if they do pick one of those positions on Thursday. We'll certainly dive into it on Friday. And otherwise, we will play a little What We Learned in a bit as we wrap up Mr. Irrelevant, ESPN Wisconsin Draft Week. We'll get you for 20 more minutes leading into Kyle Preston-Nortman right here on ESPN Wisconsin and the all-new ESPN Wisconsin app.
More Mr. Irrelevant coming up on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Pablo Iglesias.
This Badger Minute brought to you by Simden Chevrolet in Mount Horeb. You're only minutes away from a better buying experience at Simden Chevrolet in Mount Horeb. The chance to live out a dream. Wisconsin's Jack Nelson hoping to get his shot in the NFL. The tackle on his growth during his 4 seasons as a Badger.
I learned to be a leader. I learned to deal with the ups and downs. I knew that, I learned to deal that everything's not going to be perfect. You're going to have a bad play. I learned to play a bunch of different styles of football, a bunch of different techniques. I had 4 O-line coaches. And, now sitting here, I think I'm an experienced, tough, durable, and better player with my poise.
Catch Nelson's full interview on the latest episode of The Jump Around, streaming on ESPN Madison's YouTube channel and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Everyone is talking about the draft, but you won't feel one from high-quality Pella Windows. Get no-interest financing options or free glass upgrades today at PellaWI.com.
Live the high life and get into the nitty-gritty, home of the award-winning Gritty Burger and Madison's official birthday place. Enjoy a full menu including sandwiches, specialty burgers, wraps, salads, and weekend brunch. With the family-friendly environment, it's a great place to watch the big game. Plus, they've got Miller High Life Power Hour specials daily. Located in downtown Madison, Middleton, and Sun Prairie. The nitty-gritty, a tradition since 1968. Also enjoy high life at Bar Coralini, Paradise Lounge, and Jordan's Big Ten Pub.
Hi, I'm Eric Brown, owner of Siding Unlimited. Siding Unlimited is the proven exteriors professionals for 31 years. Family owned and locally operated right here in Wisconsin. National and local awards proving Siding Unlimited will deliver peace of mind. Looking for inspiration to replace your windows, roofing, siding, and doors? Stop by our amazing showroom at 2018 South Stoughton Road in Madison. And definitely check out sidingunlimited.com. We are Siding Unlimited.
A Blaine's Farm and Fleet original story.
Why is everyone coming on their riding mowers and UTVs?
I figured all the neighbors could use a break from yard work, so I invited them for
a ride-on lawnmower movie?
Or, as I like to say, a movie.
We've got the value you need to do things your way. Like all pairs of Skechers, buy one, get one half price. Select 4 packs of ratcheting tie-downs, $17.99. And new colors of men's work and sport polos, $15.99. Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Being original.
It's time for spring savings at Metro Kia Madison this month. Drive away in the 2025 Kia K4 with financing as low as 2.9% for 48 months, $22.09 cost per thousand borrowed. Or you can upgrade to the luxurious 2025 Kia Sportage with rates as low as 1.9% for 60 months, $17.48 cost per thousand. Hurry, these offers end April 30th. Head to Metro Kia Madison or visit metrokiamadison.com today.
Bo here from Ridgetop Exteriors. Southern Wisconsin got hit hard with hail recently. If your home took a beating, now's the time to take action. We've been delivering top quality roofing, siding, and window services locally for over 23 years. With free damage assessments and insurance experts on staff, we've been your licensed, local, and trusted contractor since day one. Don't wait until small damage becomes a big problem. Turn to Ridgetop Exteriors today. RidgetopExteriors.com. That's RidgetopExteriors.com.
Ridgetop Exteriors.
The 2015 Wisconsin men's hoops team gave us all a march to remember.
There will be no undefeated champion on Wisconsin with an unbelievable stretch drive to the championship game.
On June 26th, enjoy an intimate celebration with the stars of the run with Made 'em Believe. Presented by M3 Insurance, world-class expertise and individual attention. Tickets are on sale now at uwhoops2015.com. Made 'em Believe, June 26th at the Orpheum Theater in Madison.
Your state, your teams, your ESPN. The ESPN Wisconsin app. Customizable just to you. Find the ESPN Wisconsin app in the Apple or Android app stores today.
ESPN Wisconsin Draft Week, presented by American Family Insurance. I'm Alex Strouf, live from the Tundra Trio in Green Bay, just outside of Lambeau Field. 65 and sunny all of a sudden. We started the show, it was like 55 and rainy. We've gone up 10 degrees. The sun shines out. Beautiful day here in Green Bay as the festivities really get going around the 2025 NFL Draft. In Milwaukee today, joining me in Green Bay tomorrow is JOSHY DiMaggio. Also joining me in Green Bay tomorrow, but in Madison right now, is producer Tiny Hands. Hunter Vaughn is back at the Everlight Solar Studio in downtown Madison. It is all three of us going to be up here tomorrow. How fun is that? Molly Brown also going to join us for the show tomorrow from 12 to 2 from Jim, Matt, and Molly on ESPN Madison. Speaking of ESPN Madison, over on Twitter at ESPN Madison, we pulled this earlier in the show. Which position group would you rather have the Packers draft in the first round? Is it edge rusher or wide receiver? Just over 100 votes in. And boy, is it close. 55% say edge, 45%, which includes me, says wide receiver. And I think it's so close because, to Joshy's point earlier, one of those positions you can, see on a fantasy football team. So it's a little bit easier for you to evaluate, more easier to get excited about. The other one is strictly a necessary. Well, both of them really, in my eyes, are a necessary move and something I imagine they will address in the first 2 days of the NFL draft, both of those positions. You need more pressure and production out of the defensive line, and you could use a bona fide stud at wideout. Now, can you guarantee drafting a bona fide stud at wideout in the first round of the NFL draft? No, it's not a guarantee, but it can certainly elevate this offense, which needs to elevate if they want to get to the Super Bowl championship level that their general manager has been asking them to get to. Right? Brian Gutekunst saying at his end-of-season press conference back in January, it's time we start competing for championships around here. And while the Packers are still the youngest team in the NFL, they are a back-to-back year playoff team. They are a team that has increased in the win column, and they are a team that has their quarterback answer. They know they have their quarterback. They're paying their franchise quarterback. Any help around him and any help on the defensive line can certainly elevate this team to a Super Bowl level, as they're not super far off, but they could certainly use some help at both of those positions. Dropped passes and lack of sacks in 2024. Two problems the Packers hoping are shored up in 2025 as the 2025 NFL Draft gets underway tomorrow, but the festivities, man, already ongoing. Green Bay is the epicenter of sports this week. Going to be an awesome time here in Green Bay. We will wrap up the show. Coming up next, we always play a little What We Learned. You learn something new every day. We learned something new today. We will play What We Learned, which is presented by Door County Distillery. Coming up next as we wrap up the Wednesday edition of ESPN Wisconsin Draft Week, presented by American Family Insurance on ESPN Wisconsin and the all-new ESPN Wisconsin app.
More Mr. Irrelevant coming up on ESPN Wisconsin and the ESPN Wisconsin app.
Good morning, Doctor.
Doctor?
Hi, Doctor.
Doctor?
Dr. Jackson's practice is growing.
What do you mean we're still short-staffed?
He needs a good patient doctor.
How do we not have enough doctors to doctor all these patients?
And he doesn't have the patience to sift through hundreds of resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Vivid Seats is your ultimate destination for basketball and hockey this season. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every one-timer and buzzer-beating 3 live and in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Don't miss out. Visit VividSeats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Your Honda gets you everywhere. When it needs service, you need Zimbrick Honda service. Their customer service is second to none, and you can experience it for yourself at 2 convenient Madison service locations on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. From simple maintenance to expert repairs, Honda certified technicians handle it all. Stop in for an express oil change at Fish Hatchery Road on Saturdays. No appointment necessary. Part of the Madison community since 1973. Shop local. Shop Zimbrick Honda.
Why is life better with American Family Insurance? Because every policy comes with something very special. A trusted agent who's there to help protect your dreams by finding the right coverage at the right price. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
You remember the moments from that magical March.
Outside Decker. It's a 3. Got it!
On June 26th, celebrate the squad with Made 'em Believe. A special night with Bo Ryan, Frank Kaminsky, and Sam Decker.
Here's Kaminsky. The drop stab. That's his favorite. And the 2.
Presented by Bud Light, Michelob Ultra, Potosi Varsity Ale, and Potosi Hard Seltzer. Tickets are on sale now at uwhoops2015.com. Made 'em Believe. June 26th at the Orpheum Theater in Madison.
The GRB Rays have established themselves as one of the top baseball programs in the Midwest and the country. GRB Academy offers training programs for players of all ages and skill levels. Learn from some of the best baseball coaches in the area and find the program that fits your training goals and your schedule. Spots are filling up fast, so visit grbacademy.com to sign up now. That's grbacademy.com. GRB Academy, baseball for the serious player.
Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side. When you see Diamond Jim, you can count on him to be on your side. Selection beyond compare with on-site repair, so you can wear your jewelry with pride. Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side.
Spring is here, and Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison is celebrating with two fantastic promotions: Rollover Jackpot and Super Picks. Every Tuesday in April will be our Rollover Jackpot drawings. The jackpot grows by $500 with each drawing until a winner is found. And on Saturday afternoon, April 26th, is Super Picks, where 21 winners will each go to the big punch board to reveal a prize up to $5,000. That's over $100,000 in possible cash prizes in one day. April brings so many ways to win at
Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison.
Welcome. The 2025 NFL Draft, live from historic Lambeau Field in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
With the first pick.
It all begins with round one, Thursday, presented by ZipRecruiter, GNC, and American Family Insurance.
It's just like the ocean under the moon. It's the same as the emotion that I get from you. You got the kind of loving that can be so smooth. Yeah, give me your heart, make it real, or else forget about it.
ESPN Wisconsin Draft Week, Mr. Irrelevant, wrapping it up on a Wednesday. When we talk tomorrow, we'll be just hours away from the 2025 NFL Draft with you every day this week from noon until 2, live and local all week long here on ESPN Wisconsin and ESPN Wisconsin Draft Week, which is presented by American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Visit amfam.com. As we always wrap up, Mr. Irrelevant, you learn something new every day. We learn something new today. It's time now for What We Learned, which is presented by our friends at Door County Distillery. Locally produced, handcrafted, award-winning spirits made locally in beautiful Door County, in Carlsville, to be exact. Door County Distillery, local, affordable, amazing. Everything they do it right. Local collaborations galore, including in their cherry brandy, infused with local Door County cherries. My personal favorite's the bourbon, but they do have a 27-time gold medal award-winning whiskey. That is their single malt whiskey. So it's old-fashioned season this week for the draft. You got the cherry brandy for your brandy old-fashioned, or you got the single malt whiskey from Door County Distillery. Available wherever great local liquor is sold. Visit doorcountydistillery.com to find the retailer nearest you. All right, here's what I learned, fellas. I'm ready to make a sweeping declaration that I don't know if Josh will be a fan of this. But here is my sweeping declaration. 65 degrees. Sunny. It's the end of April. We celebrated Earth Day. I'm ready to call it officially summer. Summer's here, baby. Welcome to summer, everybody. It is summer. I learned it's summer. Josh, happy summer.
Did interesting, and I can sort of, let's say, I can understand where you're coming from, because I have a history of, and an unsuccessful history of, predicting that winter is over and then failing miserably with those predictions. I once said it was a random, I believe in March, like very sunny, nice day. And I said, you know what? I think winter's over. Only for us to be smashed by 6 inches of snow like 4 days later.
The good news is I think we're past that, though.
Yes, I think you officially have made the weakest prediction ever. It's nearly May, and you're ready to say, "Yep, it's summer." Well, that's what happens.
But I didn't do the fool's errand that you typically do, which is
you have no guts. That's why, no gumption.
No, I've got gumption. It's only April 23rd. We could still get snow. We could still get rain. We could still get hail.
Well, of course you can get rain. Also, in the 10-day forecast for Green Bay, there's literally 3 days with a low into the 30s again. Like, that's not summer weather.
Well, good news for you is I will not be in Green Bay past Saturday, and as I look at the 10-day forecast for Milwaukee, only dipping down to 39 on Sunday. Otherwise, it's lows of 50s and high 40s. Come on, baby. Summer's here. Enjoy it. Also, what I learned, and I don't know if we've seen an update on that, but Joshy, you've heard of this boat that's washed up on Lake Michigan, right?
This is the smallest town thing I've ever seen happen. The biggest small town thing ever. Yeah. Yes.
So there's the ship that washed up on the shores of Lake Michigan in Milwaukee. And today I know the mayor, Cavalier Johnson, is making a statement at the boat.
They did a press conference.
So did it happen now?
Of the boat. Yes, I saw images. I believe it was shared from the Milwaukee Record Twitter account. An anonymous donor has paid to have that boat removed from where it was.
I hate that. I think they should have made that a destination, Joshy. It adds character to the city.
It was a danger. It was a potential risk. It could cause injury. Like there's reasons for it to be removed. Also, the people who's in it, I believe they're from Ohio, and they know whose boat it was, and they just kind of stranded it there and then did nothing about it, and there was no recourse anyone could really take about it.
An anonymous donor is going to take care of it, but the owners of the boat are not responsible for having their boat sit on the shores of Lake Michigan in Milwaukee, Wisconsin?
Apparently not. They've apparently not responded to people reaching out and saying, like, hey, what the hell's going on with your boat?
That's a classic. Don't want to have the confrontation? just ghost them. Don't have the guts to break up with a girl? Just ghost her.
Yeah, I mean, that's a thought. Speaking of thought, the name of this boat, by the way, Deep Thought. Something I do a lot of around here. Deep Thought.
You don't.
Yeah, no one's ever accused you of that.
Oh, no, I often get accused of deep thoughts, deep thinking. I deeply think our
Strouf's
game
deep
plan.
end is our shallow end, Josh.
I deeply
splash pad, if you will.
Whatever, dude. All right, big thanks to Hunter Vaughn, as always, for producing the show. Big thanks to Joshy for joining along for the ride. As always, Joshy and Hunter will both be in Green Bay with me tomorrow. Looking forward to having you boys up here, as will the guys that are coming up next. Kyle Bruston-Nortman is coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin, the all-new ESPN Wisconsin app. If you missed any of our conversation with Matthew Golden, Tet McMillan, Carrington Valentine. You can find those ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. That does it for us today. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Draft Day, KBN, coming up next on ESPN Wisconsin.
All day, every day. The Carbless Talk and Text line is open for you. 844